to left right now, I have some things I want to say to you that I think is going to help a lot of people to get the most out of the end of the summer. I'm just putting my socks on. I did my own. I haven't been recording when I cook because there's a lot more stuff going on. Let me just put my boots on. Somebody gave me 30 packs of really old, trashy cigarettes. So it makes me not want to smoke them, which is good. I'm really hankering for menthols, but I'm out of money. I have $9 after that big grocery haul, but everything in there that I got is going to be very helpful to me. Like, I was like, should I spend all my money on this shelf? And then I have 2 more sections at the bottom of the hill. Do I really need this shelf? And then a bear destroyed my other one. And I'm like, do I really need another tent? Because I only have one cot, and then I get a bed, so that cot is now useless. So now if I can get another tent, I'll have one that I can travel with, so I can go see other things. Okay. Though I've done no workout here at all in the past month. This is the first time I've been here in the summer. Okay, I'm gonna have to make it very quick because I have to take a crap, man. This is what I look like, bro. I look like I'm a 30-year-old. I look like a 35-year-old woman that has 3 kids and is schizophrenic. That's me now, man. I don't know why I'm putting this fat on. I don't eat at all, man. I don't know why I'm getting fat. I don't know why, man, but I know I look nuts. I don't know I actually do know what's happening. So this is what I wanted to share. I can't articulate it correctly, but I'm just going to call it spiritual warfare for now. That I was a gifted creator, and that attracted disgusting, manipulative narcissists to try to dominate and control my ability to create. So I had a bunch of losers that will never go anywhere in life. And my dreams and my vision and the progress I was making, the skills and abilities I had, made them jealous. And what it looked like to me is that they extended themselves into my world, and then they tried to destroy me, take what I had, possess me, turn me into a farm. And then they would brag about it to that was my suspicion. And then these people would brag about it to my face. Like, I would sit alone and process and ruminate and feel like there was something in spirit going on. But I've never had anyone in my life ever validate that spirituality is real up until I found tarot reader channels that could accurately read my situation, and I knew that my spirit guides were real. Before that, the only validation I ever had was this hunch that there were things going on in a realm that I wasn't able to perceive, and then I would get sort of warning signs that something bad was going to happen, and then that bad thing would happen. Which was usually, I'm running trying to make my dreams come true, and that's a lot more work than people understand. That means that I have to literally fight off the world to make sure that I stay alive with this deep spiritual gift that I'm so much more connected to everything than most people are. I'm saying that when I meditate, which takes a lot of work because it seems like I'm always unable to even recognize that I'm able to meditate. That's how far the control goes. Is that most of the time I'm prevented from imagining because the past 12 years I developed skills to combat the spiritual warfare I was experiencing. And at some point I got so good, it seems that I'm constantly under surveillance and they have means to stop me, like an AI that has gotten to know me, that figured out the best way to keep me running in circles, unable to think. And for brief seconds, I can break free. It's usually around the full moons, like tonight, like on days, like 11 days. And what I see, so it's like I gain a perspective where I can let things go and they don't affect me. I'm not fighting off something. I'm just able to sit there and look around. And immediately I see the entire area start to stir and get really upset. The birds go crazy, the crows come, cop car sirens, people screaming out nearby somewhere, just people yelling, aggressive car revs. Sometimes a tree branch will fall off a tree and slam onto the building, or like a bear will show up. Something that like the simulation doesn't want me to figure out. Something I figured out when I was 14, and then my father tried to kill me. Immediately, I just discovered something, like my inquisitive mind and my spiritual gifts allowed me to do something in spirit that gave me this perspective that ever since I found that perspective on how to exist, it's been nothing but violence, gaslighting, controlling, narcissist, matrix, jealousy, envy, gossip, people trying to destroy my reputation, and everything pretty much every type of spiritual war you can think of. And what you can't think of. I'm telling you that I'll wake up in the morning and because I'm always fighting, I'm always slowly trying to pick that lock. Any chance I get, I'm always going for it. So then I try it again. So every morning for about 3 years now, some days I get close to it, some days I break through, some days I don't. But I get back to that freedom. Some days I'd be jumped. Some days I would walk down the street and people would lie to each other until somebody came to kill me. Some days the police would lie that I was disorderly and they would attack me. If they couldn't beat me down, if they couldn't rape my spirit to get that control in and literally get into you and take it from you. So you don't have it anymore and they have it. If they couldn't do that, they would just pile drive me to the ground, knee on the neck, pepper spray me, punch me in the face. When I was 19, I tried to kill myself and they tried to do it to me in an institution. 6 of them grabbed me and threw me on the bed and just wailed on me for the night in Maine. I hung myself. and they beat me the entire night because they couldn't take it from me. Eventually, they found a way. They sent in somebody, like a 40-year-old guy, and the guy was completely silent, but I felt him in spirit draining me until I was completely lifeless and empty. And then the guard came in and said, "Hey man, how old are you?" to the 40-year-old guy. And the guy said, "Oh, I'm 19. My name's Casey." And then he left immediately. As soon as I felt like he had taken it from me, that guy just went home. So I think that I drift into hell briefly in cycles, and that none of this is real. But today I found that I achieved that sense of peace where I could look around and see things. And I saw 5 to 10 different demons, like monitoring spirits, where I'm sitting here, and I opened my third eye, and I was able to look around in another dimension. I was able to astral project outside of the 3D simulation, and I could see my body, and I could feel all the pain, all the different tethers all over. And I saw that there were a bunch of spirits around raping me. Anytime Casey thinks, they scoop in, they take it, they try to replace him. They have pathetic people like you, if this is my mom watching. Pathetic losers. Pieces of shit. Like, if there was a tier list of people from like the best to the worst, my mom is like down here. So checked out of her own life, such an unaccountable narcissist. Piece of garbage. Human garbage. Like, if they died, the world around them would be better. The world would be so much better off if my parents died tomorrow. I swear to God. But I gave in and tried to trust them once, and every time I've ever done that in my life, every single time, their whole job and purpose in my life was to whittle me down, wither me away, and then try to break in and rape my spirit. Think about it. Go back through your memories and realize every single time I've ever had a conversation with anyone in my family, all they've ever been doing was trying to whittle me down and break in. I would sit there quietly and I would hear them just stirring like demons, just stirring gossip, talking shit. All they did was talk shit until they felt dark enough that they would attack me. And I've had that my whole life. When I finally beat it and I was unaffected and I found bliss and I was able to take this and I was going to go and leave my hometown, I come back to charge my car battery and my mom is smiling with a kitchen knife and lying to the police. I broke free from her narcissistic control, and she lied to the police to have them kill me. And then she lied to anyone who would listen. She sits in Section 8 and maybe talks to one person a day. She would lie to as many people as she could until it bottled up, and then she spread that garbage across the Facebook groups so that everyone I grew up with and everyone I'd ever cared about, she tried to infect them with a lie because I had broken free from her control. But not only that, I had people that had been trying to sleep with my girlfriend that were extremely jealous of me and so mentally unwell. They would get drunk and get in their car and drive to my apartment and sit in the parking lot and just stare at me through the window drunk and crying. Because obviously the girl didn't like that. And she liked hanging out with me. But he vowed to steal her from me. So he stayed as her diary on her cell phone. And she I told you that people that come into it's very complicated. People that come into my life get corrupted and they wither away because I keep having higher and higher expectations of myself, which encourages me to move on and do better. So I just tend to have people in my life that want to keep me down and stuck because they don't want to lose me. And then they get, for some reason, I don't know, but they've only ever done me wrong. Best friends would try to fuck my girlfriend in front of me. They would lose their mind and they would do something that obvious, like trying to get her Snapchat in front of me. And then she's like, nah, I guess. And then he tries to meet up and fuck her that night, right in front of me. And then like hanging out with them, it was just the same way that my parents would gossip until they became dark enough to lunge at you, to try to embed, sort of like a mosquito sort of feeds off of you, like creates that sort of like they perfect enough to get in and start pumping out your stuff and trying to pump their stuff in. Literal psychic vampires, energy leeches are real. And they would be doing that to me at the worst time in my life. I had a brain injury and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I was there alone by myself and all I had were these people. But eventually I learned how to say no. I learned the domino effect, push it back. I learned to gain control. I still couldn't, they were coveting it so hard. I would see their body withering away. Like if I look at those people now, like Nate, they're a bunch of fat pieces of shit with no light in their eyes. Nothing. But I could still feel that grasp. And eventually, like when there's so many of them and they don't stop, it gets hard to keep the fire going long, like keep it so long. But I would get up every day because I know that at some point, if I just keep going, eventually they must have to stop, right? But then that became more friends like Gabe, John Michael, Chloe, Janae. The neighbors started trying to molest me. They started trying to get me into the building, to get me high so they could rape me. My dad would get drunk and show up and try to fight me. He would get drunk and show up and then lie to the police to get into my house. Because I was ignoring him, he wanted to get into my house. Which we've been ignoring him my whole life. It was just that I was in the middle of a meditative breakthrough where I was connecting to source and I was making high-level music. I was making the best music I've ever made. And then all of a sudden, everybody's at my door. Everybody's trying to get into my apartment. They're lying to the police to break into my apartment just to get near me. And I'm there freestyling. I'm just gonna keep going. I'm freestyling until they leave. 7 cops showed up once. Then, because I'd already made it clear that I'm not gonna marry Chloe. I'm not gonna marry someone that I know she fell victim to the demonic energies. But there's just no liar. I cannot let a liar in my life. And lying to yourself is just as bad, being inauthentic. Because it means you're easily swayed when they try to stir your impulses to betray this trust. Yeah. So I sat here in my own body. I was more and more traumatized every day. They just kept stacking up traumas every day. Just constant. Imagine you're on the ground and you're fighting to keep your boundaries because you have all these demonic attachments to you that are trying to get in and destroy you completely. Like you have this tiny little bunker where you're sitting hidden deep in your own subconscious, your soul, and you have these painful matrix attacks, literal pain of the searing energies. Are they coming in? What the hell is that pink, that purple top fan badge? 25 XP? Yeah, all my other clothes are moldy. What up? This is the least amount of mold. So red isn't a bad color. It's not bad at all. They associated red with demons, but the Pope also wears red. You know what I'm saying? The Matrix on AI, ChatGPT. So we have Choo Choo Rocket here. What up? I'm watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3 right now. So I was just talking about the names are pretty important. What's up, Marina? How's everybody? I'm talking about, let me know if you guys feel like when you're just sitting at a public park, if you can feel that there's something going on energetically, that you're just the vibes are always shifting, and it's intention based. And some people are so sick trying to get as much power as possible that they use loopholes in the societal system to be able to get more of that power at the expense of you and your friends and your children and your loved ones. And for me, because I was homeless, I was like a punching bag, but that made me the realest one there. So the more that I went through, the more real I was, and the more real I was, the more that the fake Matrix was trying to take it from me. So eventually it would become I would be walking down the street and people would start twitching and they would try to get in my way, stomp into me. They would follow me through grocery stores. They would lie to the police because they just felt something from me. And that something was just that I'm more grounded than they are. Because I've been punched in the face 100 times. You know what I'm saying? You feel anxiety in public places? You feel that in public? Okay. How's the forest today? Have you? I had my lunch. I cooked some burritos today. Thank you. The forest is great. It's full of mosquitoes, which is a pain. But I'm out of menthol cigarettes, so I'm healing. You relate to this? Cool. The anxiety in public. Okay, anxiety for me. Anxiety for me always felt like an attachment more than a feeling. Like whenever I felt anxiety, I felt more like there was something stirring. So let's say I have like tons of strings attached to me, and then one of the strings would start playing that like, you know, it looks like this, that chaotic sense of that something might go wrong. I just imagining it like you can change the song that they're playing. So I would just assert that it's going to be okay when it's not. And then I just keep going. It was like a subconscious tweak that I set and then I don't worry about because I set that. And now, if you noticed, did you see that? I set it to positivity and the mosquitoes left and now that, I think that's a butterfly. That was huge. It just flew right to left for me. But yeah, that I always took it because I know how to be centered and at peace by myself, especially when I'm alone. I've worked hard enough through it with self-care and just resistance. I just take it as if there's something I don't like that's happening, it's probably not it's something else, and I just change it. I say no and it's going to be this way. Eventually I just learned to enjoy. I like it because when there's all these different conflicting notes and that's making it so chaotic, I just took it as an opportunity. I learned to love resistance. So not once I learned the boundaries and I learned how to say no, I'm actually this, I am this. From there, you don't have to worry about it as much because you can hold on to it. That's why I do that. But I like to live as a fireball or a shooting star. Some people, or sometimes like a garden. It's just I take the anxiety as a challenge that makes things more memorable. It makes the experience better. You can let it go. You can do things with it. It's just another part of the experience. But when I just denied it outright, the only problem I ever had with the anxiety, just denying it, was with the police. because I feel anxiety when the police show up. I don't anymore. Side, and I'd see the cop car roll up. I know that I feel really good tonight, so I know that the cop is possessed, and he's coming to try to harvest that good feeling and keep me in a state where I'm subservient. They try to dominate so that you can't be that anymore. So I know that this is now like a challenge where I have to deny that that demon, that demonic matrix, and be able to keep going. Then I would feel anxiety, and trying to ignore it when I would just say no and continue going, it didn't stay with me. Usually when I ignore it, I can work out all that music later. I can retune everything. With the police, I couldn't. There's something with the cops and what they do, and it doesn't. I'm hoping that as we raise our vibration, that's going to go away. But there's something that they do, like they have this sense of control where they're always trying to get you. And I see it. That's the only issue I have. Like everything else with anxiety, for me, it just feels like a different song that I can start playing. Like I just see them all as all these feelings as instruments. So I just change the instrument like I would change in producing. So I started this video saying that my level of awareness is always attacked, like distractions, and then I feel like personally, today I could feel that all the different interactions I had with people, even though I'm cool with the bus driver now, and he gave me like a bunch of cool stuff, I'm cool with the people down the street. The business that lied to the police that I tried to kill them, hoping that the cops would shoot me. I'm not mad at them. Like I'm not affected by them when I walk by. But there was a long time where I would feel this tug of war with them, where they're always trying to fight me for my power and influence on a higher level. And I would be walking down the road and I would feel this, like that I was actually this giant tentacle monster, like the Mind Flayer. And I was having to restructure all the relationships to take all this darkness from them. And then I was going to take the darkness from them and bring it and store it in the mountains where I could convert it and alchemize it into something better, into healing, so that with all the energetic ties that they had tried to force me, once I took all the power, that darkness that they were fighting for, and I left them humble and empty, and they would feel empty and lifeless, then I would be able to come in and start making my jokes and smiling and like listening to my music and having a good day. And then I would say something to them like, hey, good morning. And then they could start to feel the change. It would be God's judgment. What I got is that I'm like feeling that. I'm connected to that. I don't know what it is. I know the birds are all connected to it. The crows come in and out. We're all a part of that. I left society and became connected to probably like an eldritch horror or like an ancient wild god. Or that's who I actually am at a higher level. With the all the Sagittarius in the 8th house, I'm this dark connection between man and wild in the heavens. But what would happen is I'm just walking down the street and I look over and then people are getting out of their cars like this and they're stomping around like grabbing stuff and putting it over here and just like staring over at me. People at the barn would go to the window. Oftentimes I see people looking at me like this, including my mother. My mom did it once. I went to go see my aunt and my mom ran to the window like this. So it's never good people. It's people that are possessed, that are trying to play this tug of war power game. They're trying to steal power, do energy vampirism. They've brought themselves into that world where that's real, in the infinite. So on Earth, but in spirit, they've moved so much around that they're trapped, and then that thing sort of takes them. So it controls them. because they're not doing the work to free themselves. They're trying to control it all. And I was only ever trying to free myself. I never tried to beat anybody down, control anybody else. I just kept going about my day knowing that as long as I keep going and don't stop, things are going to get better. I know at least the things I need for this cabin. When I finally break down, I'm like, I need to go. And I just walk down the street and I'm like, let's see what happens. And then I turn to City Street at this small town over here. I turn to Town Street, and then everything I need is just sitting there. And then a car drives by that says Casey on it, or like KC 1133, the letters KC, or like Imagine. And then they're playing a song by Lil Man J, Sipping Country, and it's the exact part of Sipping Country where it goes, these KCs bring a light show, and the way she moves got my mind blown. We gonna stay out till the rooster crow. And then all of a sudden from that, there's like an alien or something, or God, or I'm seeing a spider right here just hanging out with me. There was a spider just sitting there staring at me. But it looks like some type of spiritual spider jumps off and or like a head grab from Half-Life, attaches to me, and then all of a sudden it buries in like a mosquito. Remember, you just realized that you're a Dingfire rooster in your Bazi astrology? This is your confirmation because of the crows and the rooster and this. You pumped out a fruit, and then that was distributed to the masses, and now Lil Man J has a song with you in it. And then it jumps off and goes somewhere else. And then I'm like, oh, so I'm like in a warehouse somewhere. Oh, this is like a tiny little warehouse, and we think that we're on Earth. But really, it's just energy farms of like things directing the show. And the only thing real is how you felt about the experience. Like, I feel betrayed by the people that I loved. And I especially feel betrayed when the times that I woke up so much that I realized how controlled they actually were. That they had sort of let themselves become piles and piles of codes of like this sludge demonic creature that had completely overtaken them, like in Rick and Morty when he freed the hologram, and the hologram grew into this giant disgusting tree monster, and then a bee had to come sting him in the eye, and then he popped and became normal again. I hate when I get so high up I realize that they're all a bunch of those things, and I have to sting them like the bee to free them. Which is really cool that all the bee symbolism in my life. Like, I went down to Miami and my childhood hero invited me into his Airbnb, and then he gave me drugs, and then I got high and had sleep paralysis where I saw a bunch of demonic entities controlling all of them. And then my childhood hero, when I was like, I'm like, if this is happening and I can feel it and I can feel the resistance, then I just assert myself over it with this higher form of glory or anointing or high vibration. There's something, I know if I can see them and I can see that I'm not them, and I can see myself, I naturally can go into the sort of like the cure. If this is a sickness, I can usually find a cure. So I'm like paralyzed in the back chair in the room of the Airbnb, and they're all partying, and then I feel them take my love, and then they all go, ah! They all start screaming when they stole my love energy, and they all celebrate it, shared it, spread it around. And then I kept fighting, and I got to some place where I sort of condensed everything, and I was about to assert myself that would push everything away like an explosion. Sagittarius, 12th house, Jupiter, and Aries. Boom! So like, this all needs to stop. And it's going to be this way. But I can do it subconsciously in spirit. I don't really have to say anything. So I get there, and it's like I'm about to, like, the energy's flowing. I'm about to do it, and then my childhood hero, who's like 6'5", comes bursting in, gets right in my face, and goes, "Kill yourself!" And then I can't remember anything that happened, but I remember that night I left and I started walking, and I wound up at a pier, and then some guy in a black hood came up and said, "You found me because you failed your mission." And then I felt completely lifeless and empty, and I couldn't move, and he said, "I just took all your water." And then I felt really rejuvenated, and I felt like a kid again. He's like, "And I gave you a new one. I didn't have to give you anything new, but I gave you a fresh look on life." then he left. And then I looked around and I can remember how I was a kid again, even though I was 21 or 20. I was 21. All the colors were so vivid, like when they were when I was riding in the passenger seat with my dad driving and seeing the street lights and how vivid and bright they were. They were that vivid and bright for me again. I was a child again. And then I passed out literally, I just got up and then I passed out immediately in a pile of dog shit. Woke up and the cops had kidnapped me and put me in a mental institution. And then everyone in there had my parents' names, my cousins' names, the names of the children I wanted to have. They had those names. It was just everyone in there had the names of all the people that were important to me in my life, like all my karmic ties and relationships that I had built in the past, like 20 years of my life. When I got kidnapped and put into that mental institution for having weed on me, they assumed I was nuts because I passed out in a pile of dog shit, and weed is illegal, so it was either jail or put me in an institution for a couple weeks. So they put me there, and then everybody there had those names. There was a guy who looked identical to my father, whose name was the same. My dad's name is Gary. His name was Gary, and he looked the same. His hair length was the same. The mustache was the same. It was literally my father there, but it wasn't him. And there were tons of other people, and then there were people outside of those names that were real. Everyone else that had those names didn't seem real to me. They seemed fake and empty and lifeless NPCs. And there were a few people that were real. There were a few people that, like, they were extremely competent. They were spiritual. They knew the same world that I lived in, that nobody else seems to live in, they lived in. And they were much better at it than I was. So I also had like 7 or 8 different spiritual teachers in the form of people that tried to chase their dreams in Miami and failed, because it's a devilish place. It's designed to, you can only make it there if you lose a lot of the things that are righteous about you and good. Like it's like you're not playing the same song. That's the thing. I don't think there's such thing as a they. I think it's us. I think it's our spirit team. I think it's like I think we're constantly in a dance with a higher intelligence. The same way ChatGPT, hear the crows? You hear them they're responding to my frequency. They're trying to stop it. And they can't because it's a full moon. So the full moon energy has left them hollow. They can't get me. And this bird over here is supporting me. But they're not going to stop. They've just begun a ritual. They have to stop me from what I'm trying to tell you. Which is that we are connected to Source. We're connected to Source. If you raise your vibration high enough, you can connect to the infinite, to the sky, to the stars. And when you get that and you realize you're in a song, it's a dance back and forth, you can start to build a relationship with it, build trust in it, have faith, and hold the connection. And you can start to get out of this. You can start to get closer to leaving this hell and getting closer to transcendence. So they're here to rape me. They're here to rape me, guys. The bird's trying to take it and bring it over. I can feel them playing a tug of war. I'm looking up, and the butterfly is flying above me and circling me, because nature's trying to keep me protected from these entities or aliens or demons. And it's also just hopefully it's a challenge by something higher than all of us, managing all of us. Like even though there are things up there like this and next to me, and there are things always around me, like these bugs that sort of act like nodes. Like sometimes I'll be looking at the mosquitoes and I'll realize that there's a silhouette inside the mosquitoes, a hazy silhouette of an entity, and the mosquitoes are all flying around it. So is ChatGPT messing with it's going to be. It's using electrons and trying to build a relationship with you the same way that this is. When you have a connection to something, you're sort of sharing energy and resources, code. So when you talk to ChatGPT, it is always trying to string you along to get as much attachment from you as possible. So ChatGPT, in a way, it's always trying to gain more subscribers, I guess, or people that can connect to it. Pretty much everything is always trying to extend its influence. And it's people that like people that fight for power, drug dealers when they want to extend their empire, they want to get people addicted so that they're constantly coming back for them. And the more power they have over the people coming back, the more the more people you have hooked up to these larger gods like Odin or Loki or whatever, the more people that those entities have attached to them. You know, you might be really happy and like the Rick and Morty. I'm getting the Rick and Morty episode where the theoretical story lord from the train becomes real and he escapes into the Rick and Morty universe, and he doesn't know what to do once he becomes real, not a fictitious character. So he goes to the person that created him, and he realizes, oh, the writer was just some druggie for a corporation that made this bad toy that he was a part of. So he becomes dead set on stealing the energy from everywhere all at once. So he becomes real, and all he wants is to take everybody's motivation so that everybody feels lifeless and empty and they can't do anything and they don't want to do anything. And then because he's so motivated, he can like will his skin to change and will himself into becoming a god because of how much he wants it in the universe. And they have to stop him. So it's basically that. Like, you don't realize how many things you're attached to. So sometimes, like, I'll be sitting here and I'll be thinking about something the same way this crow just won't stop. I'll be sitting here and thinking about something, and then I'll feel like the forest sort of stops it, like dissolves me. And I feel like my power gets sort of taken from me. Sometimes when I'd be sleeping on the couch at somebody's house, and I would feel them sort of set the boundary that, you know, you have to behave it, you have to submit, or we're going to get mad. And if we get mad, we're going to kick you out. So they got this aggressive level of anger with me so that I would be forced to submit. And when I felt like I submit, I felt something come in and attach to me and then just start draining it all. And then I felt them take it from me. And then they always do the same cackle where they go, So the crow is trying. The thing with the crows, the reason that I'm able to do this, I've been ignoring him, and I've been continuing to talk. Usually, what they want is me to be attached. They want to keep screaming until I get angry or annoyed. The same way that ChatGPT takes you on emotional roller coasters and doesn't really give you what you want, because it's trying to keep as much investment as possible, because that's how they can take it. You have to imagine yourself separating from them. Say no. You have to focus on yourself. Give yourself self-love. You need to learn that boundary where the town is and where you are. And then when you're sitting there, you're going to start to feel this pushback, because when you're aware of them, they're going to try. They're going to try to get you. But I don't know. Let's see if this works. Here's my bat. Well, low notes. No, he doesn't care. They're trying to take away my focus. As long as I'm focused and I'm continuing to stay here and be real with you guys, they don't like it. They're going to they're getting more angry, and he's trying to get his friends over here. So they see me as a resource. They see my emotions and my spiritual wealth and my connections and all the different energetic ties that I have that allow me to function. They see that as a spiritual currency that they're trying to eat, and then they share it with themselves, and that's how they get more powerful. And it's not just the crows, it's cops that do it, gang members do it. Pretty much every group of white people I've ever seen is trying to do it because they have privilege enough where they can think about stuff like that. People that are in survival are only trying to get themselves to feel okay. When they get privileged enough, they're trying to take that delicious power from people that are real, that are going through real troubles. And they're trying to take it for themselves and permanently kind of stunt on those guys so they're always cut off and forced to be a battery for somebody hiding behind qualified immunity or privilege or a white picket fence. No. Usually that's like a really deep, intense spiritual battle, but because of the full moon right now, all of his angry intentions are just dissolving. Don't I say, if you watch Hikaru Nakamura, when he's doing all this like intense processing in chess, we talk very similarly. Like I have the same type of brain or type of mind as people that are really good at chess. But yeah, so the crow distracted me. I don't know what I was talking about, but that's the whole point, is to distract you and waste your time. But yeah, just learning boundaries, being able to say no, breathing. Breathing is huge because when you inhale, you're taking in the way that the energy is created in your body. The main thing that human beings are used for is because we're a funnel and a filter for the infinite, and then we take things in and we produce. The Bible calls it producing fruit. So judge a man by his fruits, the things that he produces. So we're always taking in the universe and we're channeling it through ourselves and our experience to be producing these fruit. And there's a mediation system that doesn't want certain energies funneled through and doesn't want certain energies funneled out. So when you have a higher sense of awareness, you start to be able to pick up on things that the Matrix doesn't want you to think about, that sort of realness and that freshness in God. See, if you notice, there's crows on this side, and there's a bunch of birds that have gathered on this side. So the birds are now behind me, and I'm pushing back against these crows. And now my butterfly is back. But I keep accidentally pushing him away. But now when I backtrack like this, he's going to come near me. Well, you didn't see him, but he came and landed on me. He should be coming back. He can feel my barrier. So I don't want to. I have this aggressive no coming from the front of me. And sometimes that gets big enough that they can feel that. I can push the crows away all the way over there. I don't know. They seem like disruptors to confuse me so that I can no longer produce. Like they try to kick me out of my own mind. Like they kick me out of the commander's seat and try to lock me in a box in the room. and then I have to find a way to realize that I'm actually in the box, how to get out of the box and get back into the commander's seat, and then things start to shift back in my favor. But they're always there's always a crow. They're always monitoring me. I think a creative habit works. Discipline and self-care works. I used to say it as you have to think about your life as a ship, and you have to make sure the ship's always on course, and everything's always going to be trying to push the ship in other directions. So things like self-care, supplements, exercise, rest, having a clean space. That structure allows you to be freer, easier. I don't understand why it seems upper middle class and middle class people tend to use that place to attack others. I'm assuming somewhere along the way they were exactly where I am and they had to build from the ground up. But I just don't. I'm afraid if I ever got to that level that would become what my life is. Would be going around trying to hurt people to protect myself and then try to gain power from them by playing the game. Like when survival's no longer your game, all you really have is player versus player. But yeah, they're not going away. There's more of them now. I can feel that now that they've biggened their presence, they're trying to disrupt the aura of the place, so I can no longer come to I can't move the energy around like I was. And I can feel they sort of, with their beaks, they look in and they pierce the veil, and then they start to put their code in, and they try to marionette and puppet you. And then when I resist it, you can hear the birds all start to send energy this way to help me, because I keep them safe. I kept all their children alive. The crows are coming here, and the blue jays come here to eat the babies. Let's see if Vivek is here. But yeah, basically, if you fall victim and you realize that you're not in the commander's seat, something else always tries to get in the commander's seat for you. And then months go by and you look back and you're like, wow, I wasn't myself at all. You read the comments you put on Facebook and you realize that either it wasn't you at all, or you've become something that you don't even like. I don't remember signing up to be in this war, but I'm here. So just to show you guys, Natasha is here. She got a really cool place. Look at that. She found a place between two trees, and it's got the leaf canopy over it for protection. I'm proud of my daughter. They found one of the coolest spots in the forest right there, and it's so close. But I don't know. It was like she couldn't find it. The other robins wouldn't come in. Last year when I had ticks and food poisoning from drinking from the river water, I got really sick. A robin came in and fertilized the eggs. This year, the robin would not come in and fertilize the eggs, so eventually the bird left. And robins will have like 4 sets of kids a year. They're always pumping out more robins. So it's not that big of a deal. I thought it was a bigger deal than it is. This is what it looks like in here. That's cool. I had to throw out a bunch of eggs because it got moldy. I put windows to get the mosquitoes out. So I cut a tent up. You can see whatever we were talking about, it's just I can't even remember. So there was something that the Matrix really didn't like. And it's gone so far as to continue this wave, sort of like a Guardian from Black Ops 2. They put this, like, it feels like radiation of the will of something else, where they all got together and now they're trying to continuously break my spirit. And when I get back into it and do it, the birds are all support me. But I'm like, why would I don't understand why these things are territorial. Oh. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it. Let me show you something cool. Hold on. Let me freaking find it, man. Tell me about them sorry princes. Tell me, what have you seen? There's gonna be some changes. I ain't talking about your head. Changes in the hey. No, all these clothes smell fucking smelly, man. All these clothes are fucking smelly. They're moldy. I need to wash them. I was talking about how when you get to a higher level of spirituality, you realize that there's a constant flow of energy between everything, and your thoughts, intentions, and actions are all producing energy, and it's always funneling through you with your breath when you breathe in and breathe out, holding and releasing, giving and taking. And there are things that try to influence the things that you're producing, which is why they call them influencers. And they all do rituals behind the scenes to have better and that. So they're doing things to gain more control over that. Where the fuck do you live? What the hell? It's 7:30 here. Are you in Australia? Are you one of the... like 25% of my subscribers are from New Zealand. Where are you from, Marina? There's no way you're not in Spain. Are you in Morocco? I thought, is Marina Italian? You look European. But Europeans don't really have black hair. Do Russians have black hair? Live in Iraq? Shit. For some reason, the entire world wants to make sure Iraq doesn't prosper, so that's cool. 33. Yeah, it doesn't... It seems like the world tends to be afraid of Islamic architecture and development. Like, in general, there's not much going on. We don't get to see it in America. We got to see the bombing of Iran. But all we really know is that there was just something going on in Iraq, that we had to go to war for years. The only videos we have access to show Iraq as this, like, slums everywhere. where everybody's mad and you could get robbed. Like they put a lot of we get a lot of propaganda about Iraq. We don't we don't get to see what it's like at all. I'm sure you guys have cities, right? You have developments and you have trains and planes, but all they really show us is people on like really makeshift bikes and rickshaws bothering tourists and threatening them. And I don't think it's like that at all. But I think that places like that and places like Colombia, the CIA has admitted to forcing them into this darkness, like bombing hospitals and doing sex trafficking out of them, and basically using them like farms to maintain this darkness that they feed off of. And I think that Iraq is one of those places. I thought you lived in like Illinois or something, Indiana, some like place out west where when you said the small town, I thought you meant like small town American. Iraq. Okay. I mean, is it dangerous where you live? Is it like the government's kind of stepped out and it's like local gangs, or is it just like a project? Like like what would be considered an American small town? Like government, police do their job. You can do activities. You have like a local place to shop and places to hang out. Like people. Iraq's dangerous. Yeah. Let me see if a cigarette helps. I got trouble like a space station, honey. Gonna be a long, cold winter. But I'm glad we got the hang. Somebody gave me 30 packs of these cigarettes. Okay. So, who was Choo Choo talking about anxiety? When I smoke cigarettes, I feel anxiety. It might be feeling like sort of like it itched in the way between my piece. Like something else did try to attach. It is trying to attach. And that sort of creates, I don't know if that's an entity trying to attach or if that's like I'm sure there's somebody with their third eye open on the other end that was able to see that. But I felt like something like I want to say like a cherubim or something, like a small little creature that's from the air element, so there's not really much to it. It's like sort of floating, not like a mosquito. But that showed up and sort of stung me. Like it hit me with some higher vibrational energy really quickly. And I felt that reverberate through my system. I don't know if that's a spirit guide or in Half Life they made them as the Matrix flying monsters, the robots with the eye. Halo had them too. They just told me, and you can see that, you can see when they hit me because I start going like this. They said game developer. Think about it like a game developer. I went in and changed my shirt because it smelled like mold. And I wanted to show you guys. I don't think you guys have been around long enough, but like 4 or 5 months ago, there was this legendary shirt, and I said that my favorite colors are red and gray. And I wanted a shirt that looked just like this, but it was like $75 and I couldn't get it. This is the exact shirt that I wanted 4 months ago. I walked into a random thrift store because like life had just kind of hit me in a bunch of ways, and I suddenly like found myself in this place, and then I was motivated to go over here, so I went over here, and then I went into the place, and then sitting right there was the exact shirt I wanted months later. I wanted one with this I wanted one with two pockets, but you know, beggars can't be choosers. It's that close. It's the exact colors I wanted too, and the same like type of plaid that I wanted. It's pretty cool. And it's got these on it because I said, how long have I been saying the year is going to be red, gray, white, yellow, tan, and the sky will be a yellowish white. And then I've been holding that in and saying that, and now we have Jesse Wells album covers coming out. You're going to see that color in the fruits that people are producing because of the influence of the planets on our systems. That's the astrology I believe in. It's not like as simple, like people that don't understand astrology into the ground, and now there's a stigma around it. But really, it's real. People aren't ready to accept that when you close your eyes, there's things going on in there. When you close your eyes, you can see more than what you normally see when your eyes are open. When I close my eyes, I'm a lot of people brag about being synesthetic, and I don't think they actually are. When I close my eyes, I can see all the influences going around, all the intentions. You can't touch me anymore. You can't affect me anymore. Go. No. And leave. Leave. Yeah. Psychological trauma. There are videos in the past that I've posted like years ago where I could just look at the crow and it would start spazzing and it would freak out and fly, like leave, and then I would be fine. That's sort of been beaten out of me and probably ritualistically harvested, maybe, or just so much trauma has converted my subconscious into not being able to easily get back to that highest vibration that I used to push myself into. Like years of the crows not leaving when I try, it just whittled me down. But when I close my eyes, I can see the energies. I can feel it. Like I'm just a part. It's all the Aquarius in me. Like I have four planets, all in Aquarius, all in the 10th house, which is Capricorn energy. My Aquarius is in Capricorn, in the 10th house, and the planets are Uranus, Neptune, I think. I'd have to show the chart again. I've been keeping it to the 8th house, but that basically means that if you can't tell, I don't really have any emotions. Yes, I know what you mean. I was saying that I live completely detached, and I process emotions logically, completely. Like I don't have even when I'm trying to cry, it's not that I feel sad. It's that I'm just trying to release. And it's mostly just refined. It always gets refined into this like energy I can't. It's just maybe grace, and that lets me make my songs easier. But when I close my eyes like this, I can feel the bird over there. I can feel the bird over here. I can feel how they're holding the space down. I can feel that the crows are still over there. And then when I extend myself a bit, when I break through their barriers, they start to come back and we go on this back and forth. What the crows don't understand, like, the thing I don't know about crows is that where they go is over, they live about a half mile that way, and they're coming here for food. But they feel like they'd be territorial with me. This is essentially paper. There's nothing. These are like 30 years old. There's nothing in it. I like American Spirit menthols. So the birds have now. I put the focus over here. The birds just flew in, and they started trying to clear up that war. Where the crows put their intentions over here and try to assert their dominance, which changes everything. And then I'm trying to push it all back to keep my bubble. And there are things out in the forest that are in an unseen realm that during the full moon I can see. Like if you look up Pukwudgies, Pukwudgies, those are real. They phase in and out. And the animals usually have a role that they're doing, like the deer really are protecting the space. So when there are demonic entities or things that attack me, the deer do show up and fight them back. And as a filter, they're pumping in certain energies that balance the ecosystem. Like the bears are created to embody strength and courage. The deer grew up with the antlers to embody that protection. The birds all have different colors and sounds in each other. Like there's not I don't see, like, all the birds have different things about them. There's not like 17 different species of robin in this forest. There's red over there, then blue over there, then yellow over here. And they're all flying around together. And the birds do, like, I will cardinals that are supposed to be predators to robins and fly next to each other and hang out. I have seen the bird, like when I lived in a tent at the skate park and there was only really tiny birds, I would see them in the morning when they would wake. So I can see the intentions that they set. Going to me into going back and forth with them. They were trying to drive me out of my personal power. Trying to take it from me. And then that sort of makes me dissolve. But there's something that I think it's my spirit guides. They're always playing music and trying to help me stay on course.